I have a very serious question for all of you out there. Are Chinese men all cowards? Now, why would I ask such a crazy question? Well, it's because they keep telling me they are. I get these anonymous emails from time to time, anonymous messages from Chinese men, and written in Chinese and English, who claim to, on behalf of all Chinese people, want to harass my wife, want to kill me, want to go after my Chinese family and my family, rather than me, because, you know, they're such cowards. I have a huge problem with this. First of all, I think it's the lowest of the low, most cowardly behavior to threaten somebody's family if you disagree with them. Now, I do understand that this is quite a common tactic in China. If there's a political dissident overseas who says something they don't like, first thing they'll do is detain their parents or their wife or something, and you know, that way they pressure them into shutting up and stopping talking about something. But for someone like me, just a YouTuber who has an opinion about China because I've lived there for so long, for people to threaten my wife, I hate the fact that they constantly refer to themselves as all Chinese people. I find this very insulting to proper Chinese men, because I know proper Chinese men. I have Chinese friends and Chinese family who I consider to be some of the best people I've met in the world. Not only are they honorable, and not only are they intelligent, but they're also incredibly kind, and they would never think of trying to attack somebody's family member or wife. Now, what I'm about to show you is something very important. This is something I have to show to the world, and it's something that I want anybody who's interested in understanding how China works and the psychology behind China, and at least a segment of the Chinese population is concerned. And of course, Chinese people, I want you to watch this because it's about time you stopped allowing this kind of behavior to be publicly accepted in China. Right. Now, what I've got here is I've got a printout from, I'm going to link it down below, to an article on the Chinese version of Quora, which is called Zhehu. So it's a public forum, you know, like Quora, you can post questions and have discussions and things like that. I actually go there quite often to read because I enjoy some of the topics on there, and I'm actually, my Chinese reading is pretty good, and I've always enjoyed, you know, just going through the articles and stuff. Anyway, there is a particular thread there. It's gotten over 1 million views. You can see over here, it's gotten over 1 million views. And it also has 1,600 odd like hardcore followers, you know, people that are following the trend hardcore. And there's a discussion up there about me, you know, like, what do you think about the YouTuber SerpentZA? Of course, there's a lot of like disgusting, slanderous nonsense on there, but there's a little here and there, a bit of support. However, and this is what's important, is very recently there's been a post which has been getting a lot of attention, a lot of replies, a lot of upvotes and stuff, and that is by this anonymous person, again, coward, but it's actually a group of people, and what they have done over the past 2 years to try and get rid of me in China, and what they plan to do in the future. So I thought I'd read through it with you. I'm going to skip most of it because a lot of it's about their tactics and some of the dastardly things they've done to other people and how they've managed to shut down what they call reverse nationalists. So Chinese people who they think aren't patriotic enough or nationalist enough, they've actually gone after them and reported them to their superiors, got them fired, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of information about all that, which I'm just going to skip over because, you know, you'll be able to understand from the actions they've taken so far against me and the actions that they plan to take against me. You'll be able to understand the sort of type of characters we're dealing with here. And more importantly, just remember that this is on a public forum. It hasn't been taken down, hasn't been shut down. It's being positively discussed. People are encouraging them. It's getting upvoted. And anyway, let's continue. So the gist of this thing is, it starts out by saying that they have to cut this black flag, Winston Sturzel. And the reason that they have to do this is, number one, it'll be a big victory for them, for this group of people. And number two, it's going to be a stark warning to other foreigners who think that they can eat the soft rice in China and, you know, do what I do, basically, make videos about China. Okay, so very quickly, they say that over the past couple of years, lots of Chinese friends from different walks of life have been trying to get rid of me through various means, okay? And they basically say they've been doing things like contacting the Public Security Bureau, the immigration departments, you know, entry-exit Bureau of Shenzhen and China, various government organizations, but it hasn't been working. Okay, and they're really pissed off that it's not working, and they give some reasons why they think it's not working. They say here that the reason they think it's not working is because my income and my lifestyle aren't linked to me living in China, which is actually true. And that's another thing they lament about in this thing, is they go on about how I'm funded by donations from overseas, right? And they say that's my motivation for making slanderous videos about China, which is not actually true. I just, talk about China in my daily life. And in fact, it's kind of sad, because this week I was going to put out a very positive video about China that I've been really looking forward to releasing, one with my wife together. But I have to take care of this right now because of this harassment and this nonsense that's going on. And I want you guys to know about it, because it's very important. You have to know what these people are doing behind the scenes. Okay, so they say because I'm not getting paid, they can't basically go in and attack my employer and get me fired and affect me that way and all that. So they also say that they can't use the law or outside law from other countries. It's just too difficult. Right, so now first of all, they're talking about what they can do, in order to get rid of me. And that's what's written in this bold paragraph here. So they say they need volunteers, and they have to use this multi-angled, multifaceted approach to get rid of me. And the idea is that they harass me, they continue to harass me until I become mentally unstable. And then I kind of snap and, lash out and say lots of bad things. Because what they follow to say is that I've been very cautious, and that's why it's been hard to get rid of me, is because I first of all, I don't directly criticize the Chinese government. I don't directly criticize China, and they're pissed off that I don't do this. So what they're trying to do is get me into a mental state where I start lashing out and attacking the government and attacking China, so that then they can use that material to basically get rid of me. So, yeah, they explain a bunch of other crap about how they managed to get rid of other Chinese reverse nationalists. And then this is where it starts to get interesting here, as they say, this year, our focus is on getting rid of Winston Sterzel. But he has been a bit of a tough bone to get rid of, okay? So, again, they're going on about how, because I don't earn my money in China, I'm not employed in China, which is actually a big gripe of mine. It is one of my major criticisms about China, is the fact that they don't let people work on a spousal visa. So if you're married to a Chinese person, you can't work. You actually have to go and get a separate work visa, which has nothing to do with your marriage. So if you're married, you just can't work on a marriage visa. Anyway, so they say that they can't get me that way, and then they also say that I'm very stubborn. And of course I'm stubborn, the more I've been attacked, and I've been dealing with this kind of stuff for years, right? But the more that I'm attacked, the more I'm inclined to make videos. So, you reap what you sow. Okay, they also say that I'm a racial supremacist, or my racial supremacy is very exaggerated. All right, I mean, if that's what you believe. I do think that you guys are just, maybe you've got racial inferiority. I think that's your problem, is you think other people think they're superior to you. But the problem is, I don't think I'm superior to Chinese people. I never have. I've got a great deal of respect for Chinese people. That's why I married a Chinese person. I'm not going to marry someone I think is under me or less than me. Okay, so just think about that for a minute. Some more nonsense. It's not really very interesting. What I do find quite funny is they use a Chinese idiom here, which basically means the harder a fox is to catch, or the more sly a fox, the more enthusiastic the hunter will be to catch the fox. Obviously referring to me here. Anyway, now here is the interesting stuff, and this is what I want to cover. This is what they say. This is what we've done this year. So what have we done this year to get rid of Winston? Okay, so the first thing they talk about here, so let me put that down for a second. First thing they talk about here is how they've attacked my wife. So they've contacted my wife. They put her full Chinese name in here and the full address of her clinic where she used to work. I actually made sure that they kept her on the roster as working there, because I kind of foresaw this happening. But they contacted her work and lied and said that they've even put it here, that she has been exposing her patients, the children's that she treats. their details online. They also reported her to the medical bureau of Shenzhen, and of course the government medical departments, things like that, sent all this information, sent information about me, and it's true. There was actually a 23 or 24 page official letter sent from multiple sources, because they work as a group, so there's multiple people sending the same letter, which is kind of stupid. And this letter was all about me, basically. It said very little about her. The only thing that they really said about her is that she's a national security risk, and that she doesn't treat her Chinese patients well because she thinks foreigners are better than Chinese people, and she's not patriotic enough, and all this kind of nonsense. But they made a big screw up in the letter, because in the letter they had a whole paragraph there about how she's had 2 children with her foreign husband, and that she talks nonsense about China and stuff. And then it clicked. I was like, hang on a second. I haven't had 2 kids, but my friend Seamilk's had 2 kids. So I asked him, and yes, guess what? The exact same letter, slightly altered, had been sent to his wife's former employee, which is ridiculous because she hasn't worked there for years. So, obviously the former employee contacted her and said, like, what's this nonsense? And the same thing with my wife. They contacted her. They're like, what is this spam that we're getting? Because it's being sent to multiple places. And the end result of that is that she was able to explain to the hospital and to her superiors what's going on. And they were like, okay, we understand. We will ignore any more of these harassing mails. Because obviously they know her. Don't forget, to become a doctor, you have to work for years and years and years and all that stuff. And you get to know everyone. So if someone just comes along and accuses you of being a spy or whatever it is, they're not going to just believe that, which is good. Anyway, they then say the other things they've done in these past 2 years. Was it this year? Yeah, no, this is this year, sorry. So the other things that they've done this year is they have searched groups on QQ, groups of martial artists, like fight clubs. They've sent all my information and all the bad deeds that I do to them. They've searched loan sharks, because loan sharks in China, they very often are, or they employ thugs that go and beat people up and stuff to get money. It's just like that everywhere in the world. So they've sent to these like thuggish loan sharks all my personal information and all the bad deeds that I do against China, and also to influential people, etc., etc. Now, this shows you the mentality. They're obviously trying to stoke some nationalist rage in these different groups of bad guys and these thugs to try and get them to beat me up. But again, it just shows you what kind of cowards these are, because it's something that they could never do themselves. They would never come to approach me. If they really hate me that much, I've never had a single Chinese person ever come up to me on the street and be rude to me. The fans that watch my videos that approach me have always been very pleasant, and it's something that I've found very outstanding. It's only these cowards, of course, they'll never show their faces. Okay, now here's the absolute ridiculous part. Okay, so they've attacked my wife. They've tried to get her fired. They've tried to get her into trouble with the law and the government. They've tried to incite people to physically attack me. Now the next thing is they've discovered my family's details, my extended family's personal details, which is not true, because I've got a very unique surname. It's incredibly easy to search my surname on Facebook or LinkedIn, or just Google it and you'll find my family. It's that simple. There are very few people with this surname. So what they did then is they sent like a mass email to all of my extended family, some random aunts and uncles that I haven't seen in years, cousins that are living in different countries, my parents, and I don't know who else, whoever they could find, right? So they sent this email. But this email is absolutely ridiculous. It's just a big slanderous email about what a loser I am and what a scumbag I am, and that I love Japanese cartoons, which I don't know what that has to do with anything, and that I'm a loser and I can't make money and I'm broke, and it's just a huge bunch of crap. But the problem is that what they don't realize about this email is it's very insulting and it's very racist, what they said in the email. And it's very discriminatory towards not only my family, but foreigners. So here's what the outcome of that email was, is I got contacted by some of my family members who received this email, and they asked me, what's going on? And remember, my family, they've got nothing to do with me. They don't know about China. They don't watch my videos, especially not these random cousins and aunts and uncles that I haven't spoken to in like 20 years. And they were like, what's going on here, Winston? Are Chinese people really this rude and disgusting? You know, because I must again say, in the emails that were sent, it always says, we Chinese people, 我们中国人, we Chinese people don't want Winston to be in our country. You are his family. You must take him out. You blah, 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 racists, this and that, the next thing. So they think, because the email says, we Chinese people, they think all Chinese people are vulgar, disgusting racists, you know, because that's what the email looks like. And I had to tell them that no, absolutely not. It's only this little, well, when I say little, it's actually a very large group of people, but percentage-wise, it's only a small percentage of Chinese people that are like this. And the majority of Chinese people, my friends, my Chinese family, are fantastic people. And please ignore it and just block the email, because what they've done is they've used Guerrilla Mail or Mail.com, you know, these kind of anonymous mail things to send from, of course, because they're cowards. And it's very easy to just block those. So I just told them just block that anything coming from those servers, and so they've done that. So next, and this is even more ridiculous, is they said within the same 2 days we sent to businesses in the same area as his parents' business emails. Now this is what they did, and they even admitted in here, is that they went onto Google Maps, because my parents have a business, and of course their website's online. It's very easy to find. There's no magic involved. There's no hacking or anything. Just go search my surname. You'll find my parents' business. Super easy. So they found the address of my parents' shop, and they searched in that area for all the businesses in the area, right? And they went and dug up the email addresses of each one of those businesses, and they sent this random mass email to really random places like a pizzeria, a pet food shop, a bunch of other businesses in the area. And you know, the email was really despicable, because what they said in the email was, on behalf of the Sturzels, they're pretending to be my parents here, you know, on behalf of the Sturzels, we need your help to get our loser bullshit son out of China. And then they just went and basically pasted all the slanderous crap that they'd put in the previous email to my family in there. And then at the end, they signed it and put my parents' personal email addresses in there, right? Now, needless to say, there was no reaction from that. And except for one business, because my parents know the business next door quite well, they were like, hey, we got this really weird email. And we're actually quite angry, because in the email, they say that, and I'll just put it up on the screen here, they say that I'm a Boer, and all Boers are inherently racist, and that's why we, you know, with that, sorry, and all Boers are inherently racist, and that's why they made apartheid and all this stuff. Now, the person that they sent it to was Afrikaans, a Boer. I'm not. I'm an English-speaking South African. I'm not Afrikaans. I'm not a Boer. But the person one of the people they sent this to was a Boer, so they were really insulted by this, and they were like, are Chinese people all so discriminatory, disgusting, racist? Again, asking this question, because in the email, again, it says, we Chinese people, us Chinese don't want Winston in the country, blah, blah, blah. So they were like, look, I don't know your son. I don't know what the deal is here, but what the hell's wrong with Chinese people? So again, you know, I sent an email, mass email to all these people to explain to them what's going on, and they've fully understand, and none of them took it seriously, and they were all like, this is just the biggest load of bullshit I've ever read in my life, and they basically blocked it off. Okay, so that's what they've done so far, and here is quite funny, is they're like, it's obviously working, because in his recent video, you can't have an opinion about China. He's starting to say things, you know, against China, like if you're a high-profile person and you say bad things about China, you could disappear. Well, prove me wrong. That's an actual fact. That does happen in China, okay? It's happened to friends of mine. It's happened to, you know, celebrities. Fan Bingbing, for instance. If you do something wrong or you say the wrong things against the party, etc., you will disappear in China. It's just the way it works. And sorry to disappoint you, but that video was not actually a reaction to any of the things you guys have been doing. That was just a video I was going to release anyway. Okay, so they say it's working, and this is what we have to do, is we have to keep pushing him. We have to harass him to the point that he breaks and says, bad things and starts to attack the Chinese government and attack Chinese people, because then we can take all of what he says, put it together, and then use it to like give it definitive strike. In other words, they want to take all the things that I say, cut it up out of context, and send it to the police or the Public Security Bureau, that kind of thing, to get rid of me, right? Makes sense. That's kind of their, MO. That's what they do. This is the important part here. They say like, 你们可以做些什么呢? In other words, like, what can you guys do to help? They said, well, you can look at everything that we've done, read the above article. You can, basically do the same thing is what they're saying. But here we have some different methods for you. We have some above the table methods and we have some under the table methods. Okay, so for the above the table methods here, they say Shenzhen is a first-tier city. So it's easy to find some influential people. So search for influential people in the government party and things like that. Keep updating them. Keep updating them about all the bad things that I say. So basically, they want people to go and harass anyone who's like a government official or somebody who's influential in Shenzhen, and just spam them every time I make a video or something, and just say that I'm saying bad things like that, right? They say you can also, search on QQ for those groups of influential people, etc., and of course, send stuff to them too. And here again is the really annoying thing. They're like, about the tiger who follows the tiger, and they put my wife's name in there. So about my wife is what they're saying. It says we have to chase down and beat her. Basically, it's a Chinese idiom. Basically means that we have to we have to get rid of this tiger as well. We have to get rid of her. So that, what can you do? Well, you can contact the Shenzhen medical board, and it says it's very easy to find their address in QQ, and you can basically forward all this information to them and keep harassing them, try to get her fired, right? Great, guys. You guys are so manly. It does bug me that they've been trying so hard to attack my wife, but the thing is, it's been done. There's nothing I fear about. There's nothing she fears, because you guys have been doing this for a while now. The thing is, you guys keep doing it. It doesn't actually change anything because the damage has been done. It's been dealt with, and it's no longer going to be an issue. So the more you continue to attack her, the more it's just going to get ignored and thrown out, basically. So just bear that in mind, please. And here is what they say about the under the table methods. It's kind of interesting that they think above table methods include harassing someone's wife and getting her fired and just that kind of nonsense. Anyway, they're like, we can't go into detail about what we're going to do with the under the table stuff, but you can get lots of ideas by looking at what we've done before, all right? And then they say, think creatively. And here is his parents' business website right here, and they give that, right? And sorry, it continues. We're not done yet. And then they're like, here's his parents' business address, and they put a Google Maps link, and then they go on to say, foreigners are not like China, or the foreign system's not like China. You can't leave public comments on businesses. That's actually not true. You can. I guess they just don't know how to do it. But what you can do is you can go to all the different businesses. You can look up their details, find the website address. From there, you can find the email, and then they basically say then you can send them complaint emails and harass them about me and my family. Awesome, guys. You're such upstanding people, aren't you? Then they have links to sort of crowdfunding websites where they can get money to continue to harass me and stuff, which is awesome. And links to all of my personal details, which I'll show you in a minute. And then they post the details of my parents, their phone numbers, their addresses, their email addresses. This is on their under the table section, by the way. So what they're saying is go and harass his parents, because that works in China. And that's what they normally do in China. And anyway, just to wrap this up, they then go and they have a website with, a link with all of my personal details, which they think are my personal details. My favorite part is this, where they're like, this is his email address. Use Gorilla Mail. You can use Gorilla Mail to send him anonymous harassment emails. And I've been getting tons of these kind of silly death threats and things, but of course I've now blocked Guerrilla Mail and all these free mail things, so I don't get any of them anyway anymore. And they put my parents' details here and my random cousin who I don't know. They found his resume online. They post my random cousin's resume. I don't know how that's supposed to help anyone. And then they have like the people that you can contact in Shenzhen to complain about me, and then they've got the one you can complain about my wife, her superior's email address, and that kind of thing. It's really disgusting. And then they post my wife's personal like Weibo stuff. You know, Weibo is basically like I guess Facebook, something like that. So it's got all the pictures of her and me together and things like that. She shut down all her social media ages ago because of all the harassment anyway. So that's all old, outdated stuff. And there you have it. I really wish that these losers, these 50-cent Wu Mao trolls, these people, these disgusting cowards would stop making all Chinese people look bad. Because you know what? As much as you say, we Chinese people say you're not welcome. We Chinese people want to threaten your wife. We Chinese people hate you. I will never believe you because I know Chinese people, and I know that you do not represent all of them. So as much as you keep whining on in your cowardly way about doing these dastardly things and how butthurt you are about the fact that someone has an opinion that doesn't match your own, at the end of the day, I can very safely say that you will just remain a coward. You, that one individual, sitting there thinking that you have the support and are part of this huge collective, thinking that everybody believes the same as you do. But you will still be a coward at the end of the day, and I will still be who I am, making videos, my own opinion about China. So keep going, guys. Keep making yourselves look bad. Well done. You've just, in this video, proved to the world how bad you make Chinese people look. Until next time, stay awesome. Oh, and by the way, every single Friday, don't forget another SerpentZA video, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lau86 up here, Wednesday. Go take a look at him, because just like me, he constantly gets threatened by these cowards, you know, and it's tough for us to keep going, but we keep going because we're never going to stop. Sorry, cowards. And of course, most importantly, ADVChina every single Monday, where, by the way, all you coward guys out there should go watch that, because we talk in depth about China, even more, and you're going to hate it so much. Go check it out. Go give us some free views. Go give us some thumbs down. Go give us some interaction in the comments. Can't wait. Till next time, you know the drill. Cheers.